Hello everyone. Now let's discuss your biology questions from GT3. In eukaryotic cell, the complete oxidation of pyruvic acid through stepwise removal of hydrogen atoms occurs in which location and which process are involved. So very simple, it will occur in matrix, my dear students, and mitochondrial matrix, and link reaction and Krebs cycle will be involved for complete oxidation of pyruvic acid. Next, which of the following is not a characteristic feature of members of Monera? Very simple, if you see the fourth option, presence of amino sugar polymers such as chitin in the cell wall. This is not a characteristic feature of Monera. Next, which combination correctly represents plant-like characters in euglenoids and slime molds respectively? So in euglenoids and slime mold respectively, if you see chlorophyll A and B for euglenoid, and in slime molds if I talk about cellulogic cell wall around the spores. So 4 is your answer. Okay, this is an AR question. In angiosperms, a single pollen grain is usually sufficient to fertilize an ovule, where in gymnosperms, more than one pollen grain may be required for fertilizing a single ovule. Yes, this is right. Angiosperm possess a single functional embryo sac with one egg cell along with the secondary nucleus, while gymnosperms have multiple archegonia, each with an egg cell capable of forming an embryo in each ovule. Yes. So in fact, both assertion and reason are correct, and therefore, my dear students, the correct answer is 1. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason R is the correct explanation of the assertion. Next, which of the following is written after the scientific name and is often abbreviated? The correct answer is 3. Author citation. Which of the following groups of plants show all the following features? Sporophyte dependent on gametophyte, and that too partially parasitic. Dimorphism in gametophytic plant body. Presence of analogous vegetative structures. Elaborate mechanism of spore disposal. So all are indicating towards mosses. Correct answer is 2. A plant shows a petiolated leaf with a single continuous rachis bearing numerous lateral appendages arranged in pairs. Each appendage lack an axillary bud at its base, while an axillary bud is present only at the axil of the entire leaf. Which of the following best identifies this plant? It has to be neem. In a developing root, certain cells undergo secondary wall thickenings with lignin deposition and lose their protoplast to become functional vessel element. In which region of the root does the above process primarily occur? So it has to be, my dear students, region of maturation. Which of the following statement correctly describes ATP synthesis in plant cells? Okay, correctly describes ATP synthesis in plant cells. Photophosphorylation occurs on thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. Yes. Oxidative phosphorylation occurs in mitochondria. Yes. Substrate level phosphorylation occurs in stroma. No. Substrate level phosphorylation occurs in matrix of mitochondria. Yes. So if you see, my dear students, A is correct, B is correct, and D is correct. C is not correct. So your correct answer is 2, A, B and D only. Which of the following process is carried out only by bacteria? Only by bacteria. So correct answer is, my dear students, 3. Biogas production process, which is carried only by bacteria. Biogas production. Which of the following process involves template directed polymerization of nucleotides? So if you see, the correct answer here will be transcription by RNA polymerase. Next, which of the following statement correctly describes Mendel's law of segregation? So the correct answer is 1. Why? Because alleles of gene separate during gamete formation and remain unblended in successive generation. This is what we understand by Mendel's law of segregation. Next, okay, replication on 3:5 template strand is continuous. This is a right statement. Replication on 5:3 template strand is discontinuous. This is also correct. 3:5 continuous, and on 5:3 template strand it will be discontinuous. So here both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. So 1 should be your right answer. Okay, incorrect about hemophilia. So if you see Queen Victoria and her male descendant dies due to this disease. This is, my dear students, incorrect. Why? Because here this Queen Victoria was a carrier. She herself did not suffer from the disease. So Queen Victoria was a carrier. Next, the trophic level of a food chain which follows 10% rule of energy, 10% energy transfer, are given below. Phytoplankton to zooplankton, zooplankton eaten by fish, fish by man. Net secondary productivity of fish, that means here it is 20 kilojoule. Estimate the GPP, gross primary productivity, in the phytoplankton where R is 20% of GPP. Very simple question. Here you have to calculate the GPP at this level. Okay. Now 20 kilojoule is mentioned over here, and you know 10% rule, 10% energy transfer. So here it was 200 kilojoule, and here it will be 2000 kilojoule. Simple. Okay. So here the NPP, net primary productivity at phytoplankton level, will be 2000 kilojoule. But you have to calculate the GPP. So what is the equation? NPP, net primary productivity, equals to GPP minus R. Okay, let us say this GPP NPP, net primary productivity, equals to GPP, gross primary productivity minus respiratory losses. Now here you have to calculate this GPP. Let us assume it to be X. And how much is respiratory losses? 20% of GPP. So you can simply say minus 0.2 of X. Simple. And NPP, how much we got? 2000. So you have to solve this simple equation, my dear students. So what you will get? 2000 equals to 0.8x. So your x, which is actually your GPP, gross primary productivity, equals to 2000 divided by 0.8. So if you calculate this, my dear student, 2000 divided by 0.8, you will be getting 2500. So correct answer is 2500 kilojoule. Answer is 2. Next, identify the incorrect match from the following. So simple, very simple. In fact, if you see in the second option what they have mentioned, dominance is an intrinsic and always autonomous property of the gene and independent of its gene product. So yes, it is incorrect. Next. Okay, here you have to find out the correct sequence during development of female gametophyte in angiosperm. So we'll start with nucellus. In nucellus, megaspore mother cell formation. Megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis to form megaspore tetrad. One of the cell remain functional, which you will call a functional megaspore, which develops into an embryo sac. So it should be C, B, A, E and D. So 3, my dear students, should be your right answer. 3, my dear students, should be your right answer. C, B, A, E and D. 3 is your right answer. Next. Okay, flowers appear bright and showy due to large colored petals. Pollen grains are edible, sticky and produced in moderate quantity. Floral parts provide a safe landing platform for insects and nectar producing glands are present. All these are indicating towards entomophily. Read the following statement related to Human Genome Project. One approach focused on identifying all the genes that are expressed as RNA. Yes, one approach was like that. Automated DNA sequencers were used for sequencing the DNA fragments, yes. Commonly used vectors are back and egg, yes. So A is correct, D is correct and E is correct. So which of the following statements are correct? The correct answer will be 3. A statement correct, D statement correct and E are correct. So only these 3 are correct. Next. Which of the following pathways are cyclical in nature and they are directly involved in ATP synthesis? Photophosphorylation occurring on stroma lamellae, yes. Kelvin cycle, see they have mentioned ATP synthesis, so no. Krebs cycle, yes. C4 pathway, no. So your correct answer is A and C. A and C only. A and C only. 3 is your right answer. In anatomy, which one among the following are meristematic tissue? In the anatomy of which one among the following are meristematic tissue, means the cambium, storage parenchyma, collenchyma, chlorenchyma, sclerenchyma fibers along with xylem and phloem are present. All this will be, my dear students, in dicot stem. Next. This is the floral formula of a genus. So if you see over here, it is for the pea plant. So here you are supposed to find out the androecium and gynoecium. Very simple, the androecium is going to be A9 in a bracket plus 1 and G1 in a bracket. So simple, the correct answer is 3, A9 plus 1, G1. Which one of the following is not true for genetic diversity? It is a measure of species richness, very obvious. Which of the following events of photosynthesis is not directly dependent on sunlight? It has to be reduction of CO2 in stroma. Okay, NADH plus H plus is oxidized to NAD positive. That means NADH plus H plus is utilized. So NADH plus H plus is oxidized in NAD positive during all the following process except here. Fourth one, conversion of pyruvic acid to acetyl CoA. Here oxidation of NADH plus H plus into NAD positive is not happening. So except all, NADH plus H plus is getting oxidized in oxidative phosphorylation, mitochondria, alcoholic fermentation, lactic acid fermentation. In rest 3, NADH plus H plus is oxidized to NAD positive except in the 4. Oxidation is happening in 1, 2 and 3 of NADH plus H plus. Which of the following population interaction is not represented by positive 0? Very simple, apis and sunflower, obvious. The World Summit on Sustainable Development was held in 2002 Johannesburg. Okay, in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, the formation of a diploid cell 2n is often delayed by an intervening n plus n stage. Plasmogamy in the fungi is not immediately followed by karyogamy resulting in dikaryotic phase, correct. In fact, both assertion and reason are true and reason R is the correct explanation of the assertion. 1 is your right answer. Okay, protein complex with 2 copper centers on inner membrane of the mitochondria. They will oxidize cytochrome C and they will reduce oxygen. Okay, so the correct answer is 3, cytochrome C, oxidize and reduce oxygen during ETS of aerobic respiration. Very simple. Okay, what is a polypeptide, sugar and polynucleotide in the same order in lac operon? Very simple, repressor is going to be the polypeptide, sugar is your inducer and polynucleotide will be your operator. So 1 is the right answer. Okay, here if you see, my dear students, this and this curve, if you see the options, the second option matches accurately. Here the A, it is a density dependent growth pattern as the competition for the limited resources stabilizes the population growth at the asymptote. So population is reaching at max, my dear students, to the K value, carrying capacity. So correct answer is A. A is matching accurately. Next. A plant anatomist observed certain elongated dead cells in a vascular tissue. These cells show various patterns of secondary cell wall thickening such as annular, spiral, reticulate, pitted, the cells lack protoplasm at maturity and are involved in conducting water and providing mechanical support. This all we are talking about tracheids. 3 is the right answer. Next, match mixotrophic mode of nutrition. It has to be euglena. Dioecious nature, male and female on separate plant cycles. Presence of both ray and disc floret sunflower. Environmental heterophily, plasticity in buttercup. So it is 3, 4, 2, 1. 3, 4, 2 and 1. So 1 is your right answer. Next. Which process of decomposition removes water soluble nutrients from the soil surface and hinder the availability to plants? The correct answer is leaching. Okay, this is very obvious here. What are we trying to show? So this arrow represents the light. So in this diagram, what does it signify? It signifies the phototropism induced by auxin. 2 is your right answer. Which of the following holds true for beta thalassemia but not for sickle cell anemia? The correct answer is 4. So beta thalassemia, it is due to deletion of gene coding for beta chain for hemoglobin. Which of the following human chromosomal disorder does not represent trisomic condition? It has to be your Turner syndrome. 3 is your right answer. Auxin and cytokinin provide complementary effect when it comes to cell division, and they are showing antagonistic effect when it comes to apical dominance. 3 is your right answer. Which characters are observed in genus Citrus? In citrus you can see polyadelphine stamens and polyembryonine seeds. So B and C only. 2 is your right answer. Which property of genetic code is demonstrated by synthesis of human insulin? It has to be universal nature of genetic code. 4 is your right answer. Which of the following plant cell does not have lignified cell wall? Sieve tubes, very obvious. Which of the following pair is not correctly matched regarding the movement of biomolecules within the cell? So if you see the fourth option, lipids from Golgi apparatus to smooth endoplasmic reticulum, this is incorrect. Not correctly matched. Next. The protein coat of virus is called as capsid. Protein coat of virus is called as capsid. So yes. That's all, my dear students.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Priyanka De, and now let's discuss the questions of zoology. Pay attention to the question number because the questions were mixed. So let's see what was the first question. So the first question was related to animal kingdom. So Ophiura belongs to Echinodermata. So we will match it with Calcareous ossicles. Now Ascaris will have pineal seta. That means 4, 1. So we have a tie between option number 2 and 3. Let's see what is Bangarus. Bangarus will be reptile, right? So it will be having epidermal scale. So C will be matched with 2, right? So Columba, what is Columba? Columba is pigeon, belongs to aves. So Columba will be matched with pneumatic bones. So Ophiura with 4, Ascaris with 1. So 4, 1, 2 and 3. 4, 1, 2 and 3, we got our answer. It should be option number 3, right? So let's move on to now next question. Let's see what is the next question. So this is the next question. It is assertion and reason question. Assertion says epidermis of human skin provide protection against chemicals, mechanical stresses and act as physical barrier against microbial infection. That's true. Now reason says it is made up of compound epithelium. Yes, it is compound epithelium with keratinized cells in its surface. Yes, it is keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, right? So both are true. Assertion is true, reason is true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion because this keratin will help in protection from chemical mechanical stresses and act as a physical barrier. So correct answer for this question will be 1. Next, which of the following is most appropriate for the part of human brain with pneumotaxic center? So pneumotaxic center is present in pons and it will have fiber tracts that will interconnect different regions of the brain. So for this, correct answer will be 3. So cardiovascular function will not be regulated by pons. It has a central center that establishes the basic rhythm of the breathing. So they are talking about respiratory rhythm center in medulla. And definitely, if it is given that it is a part of brainstem which has no influence on breathing pattern, this is wrong. So correct answer here will be 3. So it is 3. Next question, which of the following statements are correct for the luteal phase of menstrual cycle, that means after ovulation? So we want here the correct statement. The peak level of ovarian hormone maintain the uterine endometrium. Yes. So endometrium lining will be thickened at this time because of progesterone and estrogen. So A is correct. Gonadotropin level raises, which causes follicular development. No follicular development here. It extends in case of fertilization. That's true. Endometrium undergo necessary changes for conception. So remember that endometrium undergo necessary changes for conception. Conception will be there when there is fertilization, and it lasts longer in a woman using oral contraceptives. So this is not true. So we have A as true, right? C as true, and D as true. So correct answer for this question will be fourth. So answer is fourth. Let's move on to next question. Which of the following method of contraception do not interrupt gametogenesis and also coitus? So it is very important to pay attention to not and also it interrupt coitus. Why? I'll tell you. So we have few options here like lactational amenorrhea. Lactational amenorrhea definitely uh, it will interrupt in gametogenesis, right? So implant will interrupt sterilization, which is a physical process. It's a surgery where we cut the fallopian tube and the vas deferens. So sterilization will not interrupt in gametogenesis and also in coitus. Oral pills have estrogen, progesterone. Definitely, it will affect gametogenesis. Periodic abstinence will affect coitus, right? Cervical cap is a barrier, so it will not interrupt gametogenesis and coitus. So answer should be only sterilization C and F. C and F. So answer is 2. Got it? Come on. Next question. Observe the given picture. So go through this picture. Very important picture. As you can see, this is loop of Henle, right? And we need to identify A, B, C, and D. So A. So this descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to water. Ascending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to NaCl. So we know now A and B. So concentration of solute here will be 1200 milliosmol per liter, and here the urea will come out. So now we have A, B, C, D, everything. So A is water, B is NaCl, C is urea, and D is 1200. Yeah. So with this we can go through the question and can quickly mark A, right, as the correct option. That is 1. Now let's move on to next question. Which steroid hormone increases glomerular filtration by increasing blood pressure? So here you might be confused because there are several other options that will increase the blood pressure or GFR, but you need to focus on steroid hormone. So steroid hormone will be here cortisol. This cortisol will increase the GFR and will increase the blood pressure. So here the catch is the steroid hormone. So correct answer for this question will be 2. Let's discuss this question. Observe the given picture. If you can observe this picture, you will understand that this is not a reptile, right? It is an amphibian. So it is salamandra, right? So it's not garden lizard. This is wrong. Since it is not reptile, it is not shedding the epidermal scale. Its egg lack a thick shell. That is true for amphibians. It show incomplete double circulation. That's also true because they have 3-chambered heart. Oviparous, poikilotherm with indirect development. This is also true for salamandra, right? So it is C, D, E which will be correct. So correct answer should be 2. Correct answer should be 2. Next, choose incorrect statement about Malpighian tubules of cockroach. They collect nitrogenous waste from hemolymph and convert them into uric acid. This is true. We want the incorrect one. Yellow filamentous structure, true. They excrete uric acid into midgut, no. So they are present between midgut and hindgut, so they will excrete in hindgut, not midgut. So this is wrong. They are an adaptation for conservation of water. That's true. So here the answer, which is incorrect statement, will be 3. Right? Next, match list 1 with list 2. Glomerulonephritis, right, is leading to kidney damage. So A is matched with 4. Myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disease, and yes, it will lead to paralysis of skeletal muscle. So B will be matched with 3, right? So after 4, there will be 3. So we got our answer, but let's discuss other options. Rheumatoid arthritis is inflammation of joint, and Cushing syndrome is hormonal disorder when the cortisol level increases a lot in the body. So D is matched with 2. So definitely we got our answer. It should be 2. Right? Next. So again, one more assertion and reason question for you. The intensity of uterine contraction increases during parturition. That's true. Parturition is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism. Yes, that's true. Involving progesterone, cortisol, and oxytocin. So progesterone maintains pregnancy, right? And it is not relevant for parturition. So assertion is true, reason is false. Be careful with this question, you might make a mistake, right? So correct answer for this question will be C. Sorry, 4. A is true, but reason is false. So answer is 4. Okay. Let's move on to our next question. So we have some polysaccharides here like cellulose, glycogen, chitin, and we even have lecithin, which is a phospholipid. We also have cholesterol, which is a derived lipid. Let's match it. So cellulose have beta 1,4 linkage and forms structural role in plants, right? So it is a structural polysaccharide. Cellulose will be forming the cell wall. So A will be matched with 1. Glycogen have alpha 1,4 and alpha 1,6 linkage, highly branched, and it's a storage polysaccharide in animals. So B is matched with 2. Chitin, polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine, NAG. Remember, it's a homopolysaccharide, right? And it is also nitrogen containing. Yeah. So chitin will be matched with 3. Lecithin. Lecithin is phospholipid. So it is amphipathic molecule, major component of membrane. Absolutely true. And cholesterol is steroid with a 4-ring structure that regulate membrane fluidity. So cholesterol is derived lipid having 4-ring structure, right? So everything is matched in sequence. The correct answer for this question will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means 4. So correct answer is 4. Yes. So I guess you guys have done all the questions correctly because these are easy questions. Yes, a bit tricky. Few questions are tricky. Next. Which of the following disorder is characterized by the enlargement of thyroid gland and increased secretion of thyroid hormone? So here they are talking about hyperthyroidism. So Graves' disease will be answer, which is hyperthyroidism. So goiter is increase in the size of thyroid gland, and it is hypothyroidism, not Bright's disease, not Hashimoto. So correct answer will be Graves' disease. That is 1. Next. So we have statement 1 and 2. Insect exhibit adaptation for flight. That's true. Wings of bird and insects represent convergent evolution. So wings of bird and insects, those they do have wings, but the structure is different, and they do the same function, that is flying, right? So it is an example of convergent evolution. So both are true. Statement 1 and 2 are correct. So correct answer will be 1. Easy. Next. So we have here a few data, and it is related to Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. So if you can recall Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium formulas, right? So we already know that P square plus 2PQ plus Q square is equal to 1. So we also have an idea that P plus Q is equal to 1, right? So here P, what is P? P is the frequency of dominant allele and Q is the frequency of recessive allele, whereas P square will be frequency of homozygous dominant individuals, 2PQ will be frequency of heterozygous individuals, and Q square will be the frequency of homozygous recessive individuals, right? So in the question we already have, yeah, frequency for dominant allele. So if the frequency of dominant allele B is 0.2, that means we have P as 0.2. So definitely by this formula P plus Q is equal to 1, we can get Q. So Q will be 1 minus 0.2, that will be 0.8. Agree? Now let's see what is asked in the question. So question is asking what will be the frequency of homozygous recessive First, they are asking homozygous recessive, and yes, they are asking individuals. That means they are asking Q square first. So be careful with what they are asking. Very interesting, right? Then they are asking homozygous dominant. That means then they are asking P square. And then they are asking heterozygous individuals. So it will be 2PQ. Okay, so pay attention to the sequence because there is a possibility you might make a mistake. So first they are asking Q square. So Q square will be 0.8 square, right? 64, right? So we got here this. So we already got our answer. It should be 0.64, right? Then they are asking P square. So it will be 0.2 square. So yes, it is 0.04. Then they are asking 2PQ. So it will be 2 into 0.2 into 0.8. So that will come to 0.32, right? So we got our answer. Very simple question. Don't just panic by just looking at this question, right? So correct answer for this question will be 3. Next one. Which of the following statement is true about respiration in humans, right? 100 ml of oxygenated blood is delivering 4 ml of carbon dioxide. This is wrong. Okay. High PO2, that is 104 millimeter of mercury in alveolar air, causes binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. Yes, this is absolutely true. Oxyhemoglobin curve shifts to right. So it is the dissociation curve, right, that will shift to right. High PO2, high temperature. So remember that the saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen will be because of high partial pressure of oxygen, but low temperature, and pH should also be high. Okay, H plus ion should be low and pH should be high. Remember, this is wrong. So correct answer for this question will be 2, right? Let's move on to next question. So we have which of the following statement correctly explain the difference in the mechanism of pest resistance in BT cotton and transgenic pest resistance in tobacco? So a very good question from biotechnology. If you come to this point, in BT cotton, the toxic protein disrupt the midgut epithelial cells in insect. That's true. Whereas in pest resistant tobacco, RNA interference target mRNA and prevent synthesis of essential protein in the nematoda. So these are two examples given in our book in biotechnology. So the first one is related to the BT cotton, right? So we are introducing genes in BT cotton plant that are producing toxins, right? And these toxins are active only in the gut of the insects because of the alkaline pH, right? So that is true for BT cotton. But when we talk about transgenic tobacco plant, we are talking about the infection by roundworms in the root of the tobacco plant, right? Now here we are doing RNA interference or gene silencing. So we know that translation is because of single-stranded mRNA, and this mRNA will form protein. But if somehow we make this mRNA as double-stranded, there will not be any protein formation or translation, right? So that's true. So the correct answer for this question will be 2. Okay. Now, which of the following is an extinct aquatic reptile? Aquatic reptile. So it is ichthyosaurs, right? Ichthyosaurs. So answer is 2, and this question is from evolution, right? Next one. Which of the following parts open into the cloaca of female frog? Okay, pay attention to female frog because urinogenital duct, this term we use for male frogs, right? So it will be urinary bladder, ureter, oviduct, and rectum. So correct answer for this question should be 2. Now choose the incorrect statement. Thin filament of myofibril consists of only 2 G-actin molecule, which is wrong because we know that the entire actin is made up of effectin and troponin and tropomyosin. Now calcium is stored in the cisterna of sarcoplasmic reticulum. That's true. The length of I band in sarcomere reduces during contraction. So length of I band in sarcomere will reduce, A band remains the same. Red muscle fiber have more myoglobin in the sarcoplasm. That is also true. So what is incorrect is thin filament of myofibril consists of only 2G actin molecule, which is wrong, right? So correct answer here, which is the incorrect statement, will be 1. Next, postsynaptic potential are not generated if the receptor of neurotransmitter on the postsynaptic membrane are blocked in a chemical synapse. That's true. So when we talk about chemical synapse, the neurotransmitters once released, when it binds to the postsynaptic membrane receptors, then only the action potential will be generated. So that is true. Now in myasthenia gravis, motor neuron fail to produce acetylcholine. So very interesting, right? This statement number 2. So myasthenia gravis is autoimmune disorder in which our body's own immune system attack the receptors of acetylcholine present on the postsynaptic membrane. So it is not the acetylcholine that is not released, it is the receptors which are destroyed for acetylcholine here. So statement 2 is false. 1 is true, 2 is false. So correct answer here will be 3. Yes, easy. So some questions are a bit twisted, not that easy, direct, isn't it? Next, which of the following methods is most suitable for producing virus-free plants from virus-infected plants? So if we want virus-free plant from virus-infected plant, we will use the shoot tip culture or meristem culture. So answer is 1. Next, maintenance of public hygiene, such as proper disposal of excreta, is a measure for control of many infections. So which disease will be controlled here? So it will be amoebiasis and typhoid. So we can control these two infections. That is option number 2. Next question. So we have again matched the following type of question. Thermostable enzyme used for amplification of DNA in PCR will be Taq polymerase. A is matched with 4. So we got our answer anyhow. Enzyme inactivated during blue-white screening, XGAL hydrolysis will be beta galactosidase forming gene, right? So C is matched with 1. Enzyme used to prove DNA as transforming principle will be DNase, right? C will be matched with 2 and D will be matched with 3. So we got our answer already just by matching the first option, and that is 4. Next, very interesting question from reproductive health chapter. Gift, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So it is transfer of donor ovum into the fallopian tube. A is matched with 2. So again we have solved the question, but IUI, intrauterine insemination. So here that is transfer of semen of the donor into the uterus. So B is matched with 3. ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. Transfer of early embryo into the fallopian tube. C is matched with 1. And D is IVF, in vitro fertilization, fertilization outside the body. So fertilization of gamete in vitro, right? So D is matched with 4. So correct answer for this question is 1. Easy. Next, the immunity that developed by injecting preformed antibodies is. So some questions are really very easy. Some questions are a bit tricky. You might make a silly mistake, but not this one. This is quite easy. So it is artificial passive immunity because we are putting preformed antibodies in the body. Artificial passive immunity. Answer is 4. Next question. Pay attention. Assertion says glycosuria and phenylketonuria are indicative of diabetes mellitus. So glycosuria is fine, but not phenylketonuria. So this is wrong. Hyposecretion of insulin causes hyperglycemia. This is true. So assertion is false, but reason is true. Answer should be 3. Let me know how many of you have made this mistake and have done this assertion as true. Question number 95. Let me know in the chat box, right? So answer here is 3. Next, gel electrophoresis. What is it? So it is the separation and analysis of DNA fragments after restriction enzyme digestion. Yes. So once we cut the DNA fragments we get, and this we can separate with the help of gel electrophoresis. A is matched with 1. Downstreaming processing is extraction and purification of final gene product. So the proteins or the product of heterologous host will be separated from the other contents of the bioreactor. So that is downstreaming processing. So 1 is matched with 2, right? Now elution Elution is recovery of desired DNA fragment from agarose gel after staining. So after the DNA is stained by ethidium bromide and we check this in UV light, after that we cut the piece of gel with that fragment of DNA. So that is termed as elution. So C will be matched with 5. 1, 2 and 5. So we got our answer, it should be 4, but let's check the other option. Replica plating method. So this is selection of transformed bacteria by transferring colonies onto multiple plate. So D is matched with 4, right? And E is spooling, which is isolation of DNA from cells using chilled ethanol. So E is matched with 3. E is matched with 3. So we got our answer, it should be 4, right? Easy. Just a bit of time consuming and that's it. Let's move on to our next question. Which of the following hormone bind to membrane bound receptors? Very interesting question. So our hormones that bind to the membrane bound receptors, so those receptors should be either those hormones should be either protein or amino acid derivative. It could not be steroid, it could not be iodothyronine. So here we have thyroxine, right? So thyroxine is iodothyronine. So we will be marking the protein and amino acid derivative hormones here. So prolactin, right? Cholecystokinin, pancreozymin. In fact, thyrotropin, which is TSH, it is pituitary hormone. Androgen steroid and gastrin is also a protein hormone. So answer should be B, C, D, F. B, C, D, F only. So answer should be 2. Interesting question. If you remember that which hormones are protein and amino acid derivative, right? So answer is 2. Next, which of the following are correct for ECG? So we have P wave, QRS complex, T wave. So P wave for atrial depolarization, QRS complex for ventricular depolarization, and T wave for ventricular repolarization. So atrial D, ventricular re. So yes, correct answer here should be 2. 2, right? So next question. Chemical carcinogens causes neoplastic transformation of normal cells. That's absolutely true. Oncogenic viruses have viral oncogene which induces oncogenic transformation of normal cells. So that is also true, right? But not related to each other. So both are true but not the correct explanation of assertion. So answer here should be 2. So answer here should be 2. Yes, you can check. It's 2. Next is, which of the following are the primary site for gaseous exchange in human? A line written in NCRT that the primary site will be alveoli, though there is exchange in the tissue also. Okay, so it should be alveoli. So correct answer is 4. Next, action potential in the AV node and AV bundle of the human heart initiate ventricular systole, contraction of ventricle for 0.3 seconds. Now, which of the following will be incorrect? Pay attention. An increase in ventricular pressure causes closure of AV valve. So yes, when ventricular pressure increases, the AV valves will close because we don't want the backflow of blood. This is true. All valves of heart are closed and each ventricle has 120 ml of blood during isovolumetric contraction. That's true. The semilunar valve open due to increased ventricular pressure and each ventricle pump out 70 ml of blood. That's also true. Ventricular filling begins due to opening of AV valves? No. So at the time of ventricular contraction, there will not be ventricular filling. So this is wrong. Incorrect one is fourth one, right? So correct answer is 4. Next, a cofactor that is tightly bound to an apoenzyme. So a cofactor that will bind tightly to the apoenzyme will be prosthetic group. We already know this. So it is usually organic, that's true. Rarely inorganic, that's true. So what is it? And they have given the example also, heme for peroxidase and catalase. Catalase not mentioned though, but it is prosthetic group, that is 2. Next, select the correct combination. So epiglottis, elastic cartilage, yes, prevent the entry of food into esophagus. It will not prevent into esophagus, so this is wrong. Cardiac muscle, intervertebral disc, it will not be an intervertebral disc, wrong. Ligaments, dense regular connective tissue, yes. Connect skeletal muscle to bone? No, those are tendons. And here it is given ligaments. This is wrong. We got our answer. So adipose tissue is loose connective tissue and stores fat. Absolutely correct. Answer will be 4. Next. Which of the following cells of human takes longest duration for completion of cell division during gametogenesis? If you can recall primary oocyte that starts meiosis 1, but it will complete meiosis 2 only at the time of puberty, right? So it should be primary oocyte. So after that completion of meiosis 1, the secondary oocyte is formed and released at the time of ovulation. So answer here will be 3. Next, even though second trimester abortions are much more riskier, they are advised in case of life threat to the pregnant woman. Yes. So in the first trimester, the MTP is quite safer, but after that, in the second trimester, it is not safe, but still it can be done if it is a risk to the pregnant female. So that's true. And yes, advice of 2 medical practitioner is required, right? Based on the MTP Amendment Act. So that's true. Now, amniocentesis is a prenatal diagnostic test for genetic disorders of fetus. This is also true. Both the statements are correct. So answer here will be 1. Yes, answer here will be 1. Cerebral aqueduct is seen in midbrain. 3. Direct question. A technique performed in vitro is outside the body, used for rapid amplification of DNA, does not require host, utilize stacked polymerase. We know the answer already. It should be PCR, polymerase chain reaction, isn't it? Next. Choose the option with correct sequence of steps involved in RAS mechanism. My favorite. So it is renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. Ultimately, what this is doing, it is increasing the blood pressure and GFR, and it starts with reducing or fall in GFR. So it will start with E. Okay, E, we have 2 options. After that, there will be release of renin by JG cells, then the conversion of angiotensin in tensinogen into angiotensin, right? So after E, it should be A, and then there will be C. EAC, I can see just one option. Then there is release of aldosterone B, and then there is reabsorption of sodium and water in the renal tubule. So we got our answer, it should be 2, right? So answer here is 2. Next, alpha 1 antitrypsin is used for in the treatment of, from biotechnology chapter, and we use alpha 1 antitrypsin to treat emphysema in cigarette smokers. So answer is 2. Which of the following characteristics is not common to Locusta and Columba? Locusta, arthropoda, gregarious pest. Columba is pigeon, aves. So presence of gizzard and crop in the gut, coelomate with metamerism, ventral nerve cord. So Locusta is non-chordata, and Columba is chordata. So in chordata there is dorsal single hollow nerve cord. In case of non-chordata, it is ventral solid double nerve cord. So that is not common in both. So answer here will be 3. The first 3 letters in the name of restriction enzyme, ECO. So it is Escherichia. It is derived from Escherichia coli. So which will be genus and species. So it will be genus and species of the organism. That means correct answer should be 1. So with this, we have solved all the questions of zoology. That was easy, but few questions were tricky, and you might make silly mistakes like I have told you at some places, right? And rest everything was good. What do you say? Let me know in the chat box or in the comment section. Thank you. See you in the next paper discussion.
Hello students, here is the NEET Grand Test 3 paper solutions chemistry. The overall paper is going to be easy and moderate as standard with NEET examination. So let us start without any delay here. The question number 1, which of the following can be prepared by Gabriel Thalamide synthesis? Gabriel Thalamide synthesis is the one if it is treated with the potassium hydroxide, you are going to get a potassium thalamide. This potassium thiamide is going to be an excellent nucleophile. It is going to react with alkyl chloride or alkyl halide by means of SN2 reaction. So further hydrolysis, you are going to get along with only primary amines are prepared by this Gabriel thiamide synthesis. So it is prepared. Which of the following can be prepared? So methylamine can be prepared and aniline is aromatic, cannot be prepared. Why? Because it is a haloarine. So haloarines do not undergo SN2 reactions. So this question, option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Here is the question number 2. The question is asking from atomic structure hydrogen spectrum analysis. An electron of the 7th energy level of a hydrogen atom can be reached the ground state in the different ways. Wavelength of spectral line with maximum energy in infrared region. So when the electron is coming to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7th energy level 2. It is coming to infrared region with maximum energy, means it is a Lyman series, Balmer series, it is a Paschen series. So we can say N1 is equal to 3, N2 is equal to 7. And what is this spectral line wavelength? 1 by lambda is equal to R Z square 1 by N1 square minus 1 by N2 square. This is Rydberg equation. You can use this 1 by lambda R into 1 square for hydrogen atom, 1 by 3 square minus 1 by 7 square. And you can write this as 1 by lambda is equal to R 1 by 9 minus 1 by 49. On moving, so 1 by lambda is equal to R 49 minus 9 by. On moving, so 1 by lambda is equal to 1 by lambda is equal to R 49 into 9 upon 40. So on doing so, lambda you are going to get as 1 by R is equal to 912 angstrom units. Directly you can use that, and for doing so you are going to get lambda is equal to 10054.8 angstrom units. So option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a classification question based on redox reactions. Here it is given magnesium is combining with nitrogen and various chemical reactions are given. You have to classify which category of redox reaction is this. Magnesium is combining with nitrogen, so it is going to be a combination reaction. So I want to say A comes to be 3 and H2O2 is converting into H2O and O2, and H2O2 oxygen is having -1 oxidation state, and here it is going to be -2 oxidation state to 0 oxidation state. So a reaction in which an element undergo both oxidation and reduction simultaneously is called disproportionation reaction. So I would like to say it is going to be 1, and iron is converting into combining with HCl to form hydrogen is displaced. So it is a non-metal displacement reaction. So it is going to be a 4, and Cr2O3 plus Al gives rise Al2O3 plus Cr. So it is a thermite reaction where a metal is displacing another metal by redox reaction. So you can say a metal displacement reaction. and this is going to be option 2. So, A3, B1, C4, D2. So, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is one more question from redox reaction. The reduction potential of a half cell consists of platinum electrode immersed in 0.1 molar Fe2 plus and 0.01 molar Fe3 plus. And the reduction potential you have to calculate. So, when it is going on, so Fe2 plus is taking one electron and become Fe3 plus. Therefore, I could say this is n is equal to 1. For this, directly you can apply Nernst equation. Nernst equation, cell potential is going to be standard electrode potential minus 0.0591 by n, and here log Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. So, in this case n is equal to 1, E naught value is given as 0.77, 0.77 minus 0.06 you can write divided by 1. Log Fe2 plus concentration is going to be 0.1 and it is going 0.01. So, on doing so, you are going to get 10 to the power of minus 1, okay, and you are going to see 0.77 minus 0.06, and you will be having the potential as 0.711 volt. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a question from quantum theory of light. Which of the following statement is incorrect? With increase in the temperature of wavelength, corresponding maximum intensity of a black body radiation will also increase. So, intensity and the wavelength. When you say Max Planck quantum theory, a graph is drawn between intensity and the wavelength. So, this graph is telling you as intensity increases, wavelength shift to the lower wavelength at a given temperature T1, and at a T2 it is going to be like this. So, T2 is greater than T1. So, as intensity increases, wavelength also increases, which is not correct. Wavelength is decreases. That is the reason why energy is inversely proportional to lambda. Here it is given increases, which is not correct. It is asking about incorrect statement. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from, in a gas phase reaction, A2 gives rise B plus half C. All components are in the gaseous phase. The increase in the pressure from 100 to 120 is given. So, the total pressure at the time t is going to be 120, and it is noticed in 5 minutes. So, the rate of disappearance of A2. So, the rate of disappearance of A2 means the amount of this consumed you have to consider. So, let us say A gives A plus A2 plus B. It is given as A2 is a gas, gives rise B plus half O2 of C. All are in the gas state. Initially it is taken as 100, and at a time t, let us say 100 minus x, it is going to x, and it is going to be x by 2. So, the total pressure is going to be 100 minus x plus x plus x by 2. That is going to be 100 plus x by 2 is should be equated to 120 millimeter mercury. On doing so, x is going to be 40. So, that is the amount consumed. Rate of a reaction is the change in the concentration or a change in the pressure upon time taken for it. So, rate is going to be x by 5, that is equal to 40 by 5 is going to be 8 millimeter mercury per minute. So the answer for this question is going to be option 2 is the answer. Here is a question, simple question from the biomolecules, amino acids. Which amino acid contains sulfur in its structure? Sulfur containing amino acids: cysteine, cysteine and methionine. These are the sulfur containing amino acid. So alanine is a neutral amino acid, glycine, valine, these are all. So here the question is going to be methionine is a sulfur containing amino acid. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question based on P block elements. Given below are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. BF3 is a predominantly ionic. So BIF3, bismuth trifluoride, is, as being a fluoride, it is going to be ionic in nature, which is correct. It is given clearly in the NCERT. H2PO is thermally more stable hydrates among the group 16 elements. Down the group, H2O, H2S, H2SE, H2PO. So you are going to decrease the thermal stability because bond energy is going to be decreased. Therefore, this statement is going to be wrong statement. So for this question, statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect for this question. Here it is a simple number of moles calculation, but it's a little flipped this question and it's a nice tricky question. Sample is given, total number of atoms we have to identify. So each sulfur atom has three atoms. 64 grams of sulfur dioxide means 3 mole of sulfur dioxide. 3 mole sulfur dioxide. So contain 3 into Avogadro number into 3 atoms. So you are going to get 9 Na atoms. So it is going to be, it is given 64 gram of sulfur dioxide molecular mass is going to be 64, and it has a 1 mole of sulfur dioxide, 1 mole sulfur dioxide. So each sulfur dioxide has 3 atoms is equal to Na, 3 Na atoms are there. So I mean to say 3 Na atoms means you are going to get 3, it is matched. And 11.2 liters of carbon dioxide at STP. 22.4 is equal to 1 mole, 11.2 liters is going to be half mole. So half mole carbon dioxide. So 0.5 mole CO2. Each contain 3 atoms. 0.5 into 3 Na atoms. I mean to say 1.5 Na atoms. So for this I am going to get 1.5 Na. So for this 2 is the correct match. 5 gram atoms of silver, it will have 5 Avogadro number of atoms. So I want to say it is going to be 4. 6 gram molecules of nitrogen, 6 gram molecules means 6 mole nitrogen. Mean to say 6 into 2 into Avogadro number. So 12 Avogadro number of atoms are present. So the answer, it is going to be 12 Avogadro number. So it is 1. So A matches with 3, B matches with 2, C matches with 4, D matches with 1. So when matching type questions come, you have to do meticulously, so that the answer is going to be option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question, again assertion and reason type question. This type of questions are more prone from the NEET examination, you can expect it. So it is given for an isochoric process, Q is equal to delta U. Heat absorbed by the system is equal to increase in the internal energy. So isochoric process, delta V is equal to 0, therefore W is equal to P delta V. So W is going to be 0, delta U is equal to Q plus W. So delta U is equal to Q because this value is found to be 0. As a result of this statement is correct. And work done is a positive in an isochoric process. In an isochoric process, delta U is said to be here. When work done is assumed to be 0 here, you cannot say work done is positive, which is not correct. So statement 1 is statement A. Assertion is correct, reason is not correct. So the answer for this question, A is true, R is false. Students, here is another question is asking about the boiling point of aqueous solution of a non-volatile solute is this much. The freezing point of the same solution you have to calculate. So I mean to say, here Kb values and Kf values are given for the same solution, mean to say for the same solution, molality will be the same. We know delta Tb is equal to Kb into molality, delta Tf is equal to Kf into molality. When these are same, you can take the ratio. So I mean to say delta Tb, delta Tf is equal to Kb upon Kf. So delta Tb, you get say 101.5 upon you say Tf, and Kb value is given 0.52. Kf value is given as 1.86. On solving delta Tf, you are going to get as minus 5.36. And the answer for this question is going to be option 4 is the correct answer. Students, this is the question based on chemical kinetics. Which of the following statement is incorrect? I can assure you in this 2026 NEET examination, the question pattern follows which of the following is correct, which of the following is incorrect kind of things. Kp is equal, Kc is equal to Kp RT square for the reaction N2 plus 3H2 plus N2 NaHU3. For this reaction, delta N is equal to minus 2. So we know that Kp is equal to Kc RT to the power delta N. So if you take this delta N as a negative 2, so Kc is going to be reversed RT square, it is correct. Equilibrium shift in the forward direction by the addition of solid nickel. Solid has no effect in the state of equilibrium because whenever the solid comes, its active mass is taken as a 1. So it has no effect. So this is a wrong statement. Increase in the pressure favors the equilibrium, melting of an ice, and it is a phenomenal. Delta N value is going to be here increased. Entropy is increased. So when the pressure is increased, the reaction favors in the forward direction. And addition of inert gas at constant volume. When you add at a constant volume, addition of inert gas has no effect. Therefore, I would say this is wrong. So among A and C are correct statement, as the question is asking which of the following is incorrect statement. I find B and D are the incorrect statements for this question. Option 2 is correct answer for this question. Students, it is a fundamental question based on the chemical bonding. Superoxide ion has a paramagnetic while the peroxide ion is diamagnetic, which is correct. Superoxide is going to be O2 minus and peroxide is going to be O2 2 minus. So it is going to be paramagnetic and colored due to odd electrons are there. So it is a correct statement. While CO bond length in CO molecule is more and then CO2 molecule, you can find here bond order is going to be 2 and bond order is going to be 3 and bond length inversely proportional to the bond order. Therefore, this is a wrong statement. I can say statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is a wrong statement. Option 3 is the correct answer. The solubility, here is another question, students, based on solubility product constant, and the solubility product of barium chromate is 2.4 into 10 raised negative 10 molar square. The maximum concentration of barium nitrate possible without precipitation in K2Cr2O4 C6 into 10 raised negative 4 solution is. So, barium chromate is a sparingly soluble salt CrO4, and it is going to give you barium 2 plus and CrO4 2 minus. If you take the Ksp value here, barium 2 plus and CrO4 2 minus, so you can say maximum possible concentration of barium nitrate. So, how much precipitation, without precipitation, how much you are going to calculate the barium 2 plus concentration Ksp value is given as 2.4 into 10 raised negative 10 is equal to barium 2 plus, and chromate concentration you are going to say it is being a 100% ionized, whatever the chromate concentration is coming from the potassium chromate only, 6 into 10 raised negative 4. On solving so, barium 2 plus concentration comes to be 2.4 into 10 raised negative 10 upon 6 into 10 raised negative 4. So, you are going to get option 3 into 10 raised minus 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, on solving so, you are going to get 4 into 10 raised minus 7 is going to be the answer for this question. For this question, the answer is going to be option 1. Students, here is the question from the salt analysis. Which of the following pair can be separated by testing with H2S in dilute HCl? So, it is HCl and dilute HCl means second group cations. Initially use dilute HCl, you are going to get a group 1 cations are going to be precipitated. If you use dilute HCl and H2S gas, you are going to get precipitated group 2 cations. In the salt analysis, group 1 is different, group 2 is different, don't correlate with the periodic classification. So, group 2 cation comes here copper 2 plus. So, here copper 2 plus and zinc 2 plus can be separated here. So, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here pH of 0.01 molar ammonium sulfate and 0.02 molar ammonium hydroxide buffer solution is. This question is based on the buffer solution. So, you are using POH is equal to pKa, pKb plus log salt by base is the formula. In this case, you have salt concentration and base concentration. Salt concentration ammonium plus concentration, ammonium sulfate ionized to gives rise 2 ammonium plus, so that it is going to be 0.01 into 2 is equal to 0.02, and it is given base concentration ammonium hydroxide, it is also given as 0.02. When these two are going to be the same, so POH is equal to pKb and pH is equal to pKa. So, the pKa of ammonium plus is given 9.26. So, 9.26 is the answer. First option is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is an inorganic question, again assertion and reason. So, assertion, fluorine is a strong oxidizing agent in the aqueous solution. Of course, fluorine is the strongest oxidizing agent among all things you can see in the regular inorganic chemistry, and the reason, fluorine is the most electronegative element, which is correct, and the reason is not actually explaining assertion. The reason for this is explaining could be due to low bond dissociation energy and high hydration energy. If that option comes now, it can be correct explanation of assertion. So, that assertion and reason both are correct, but not the correct explanation. So, for this question, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is based on thermochemical equations. The enthalpy of formation of C2H4, CO2 and H2 at 25 degrees centigrade it is given, and you are asked to calculate enthalpy of combustion of C2H4. So, C2H4 enthalpy of combustion means the enthalpy change when 1 mole of substance is completely oxidized in the presence of excess of oxygen. So, it is burning any hydrocarbon burns to gives rise its corresponding carbon dioxide and water and some amount of energy delta H you have to calculate. If we balance for the 2 carbons and for the hydrogens, I need 3 oxygens. Now, it is pretty clear. So, enthalpy of combustion can be calculated as sum of the enthalpy of formation of products minus sum of the enthalpy of formation of the reactant. So, what are the products? So, enthalpy of formation of carbon dioxide into 2 plus enthalpy of formation of water into 2 minus enthalpy of formation of C2H4 plus enthalpy of formation of oxygen into 3. So, carbon dioxide it is given minus 394. So, C2H4 52 now it is going to be 394 minus 394 into 2 plus water it is going to be minus 286 into 2 minus it will be 52 into 1 plus 0 into 3. Why 0 I have taken? Oxygen standard enthalpy of formation is going to be 0. On doing so, you are going to get the answer in terms of minus 1412. Here it is given minus 1412 plus 1412. Combustion being an exothermic, you need not have to worry whether it is a negative or positive, it is supposed to be negative only. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Children, this is the chemical kinetics question. Which of the following is a correct representation of variation of half-life with initial concentration for the zero order reaction? So, I want to say half-life for zero order it is given. For zero order T half is equal to A naught by 2K. So, I mean to say T half is directly proportional to A naught. So, initial concentration and T half is going to be a straight line passes through origin. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is given a little logic oriented solutions on colligative properties vapor pressure related question in the vapor phase. So, PA is given 192Y minus 131 XY mm of Hg. Pa is partial pressure of A, X is mole fraction of A in liquid phase. In the mixture of two liquids A and B, and Y is the mole fraction of A in the vapor phase. Then P naught A in the millimeter mercury, it is given as Pa is equal to P and mole fraction of A. It is given that Pa is equal to 192 minus 131 X of Y, and P total is equal to 192 minus 131 of X, and P total is equal to P naught A. If you assume X is equal to 1, P naught A is going to be 192 minus 131. On doing so, we will be having 61 millimeter mercury. So, the answer for this option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question based on Kohlrausch law applications. So, conductivity, specific conductance of 0.01 molar. So, specific conductance kappa K is given 1.25 into 10 raised negative 4, and the molarity for this given as 0.1 molar. HA is a weak acid. If the limiting molar conductance of this is given as 250 ohms, then dissociation constant of this. How do you calculate dissociation constant? You can say dissociation constant is going to be C alpha square, you can write it. So, if you have this alpha value, C is the molarity, you can do it. How do I get alpha value? Alpha value is molar conductance at a given concentration upon molar conductance at infinite dilution or limiting molar conductance. And alpha value can be calculated. This value is given 250. Something it is missing, we have to calculate this one. From this given data, molar conductance at a given concentration is equal to specific conductance into 1000 by molarity. So, it is given 1.25 into 1000 into 10 power minus 4 into 1000 upon 0.1 means 10 power minus 1. On doing so, I will be getting 1.21. Put 1.25 here. When you put here, you are going to get nearly 2.5 into 10 raised negative 6. 2.5 into 10 raised negative 6 is the answer. Option 1 is the correct answer for this simple question. Students, the question is asking about correct statements among the following. Formal charge on central oxygen atom in the ozone is, it is going to be 0, it is going to be plus 1 and it is going to be minus 1. It is said that 0, which is wrong statement. If two or more resonating structures can be represent a molecule, the VSEPR model is applicable to any structure, which is a correct statement. Hybridization of CO is a CO NH36 is sp3d2. It is not sp3d2, it is going to be inner orbital complex d2sp3. So that this statement is not correct. Bond order of B2 according to molecular orbital theory is going to be 1. So B2 is given as 10 electrons. So that you can say sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2. So 2px, 2py, 2 and 2. So if you do so, you are going to get number of bond order is going to be 1. So I could find here B and D are only the correct statements. B and D are only the correct statements for this question. Option 4 is the correct answer to this question. Which of the following pair of transition metal ions have the same calculated value of magnetic moment? Magnetic moment can be calculated as root over n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. N is the number of electrons. If you say chromium 2 plus and Fa2 plus, you are going to get a D6 configuration. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So n is equal to 3 for them. So n D6 configuration. So n is equal to 3 for chromium 2 plus and Fa2 plus. So the answer for this question is going to be 3. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Here it is monochlorination product. It is given exactly in the NCERT, but it is little format is changed. Which of the following compounds are the maximum number of monochlorinated products possible? If you consider this 2-methyl butane isopentane, I am going to get a monochlorinated product here. I can get a monochlorinated product here. I can get a monochlorinated product. I can get a monochlorinated product. 4 structurally possible monochlorinated products can be seen. and if it is a stereo, 2 more you can add. So for this question, option 2 is the correct answer. It is one more root mapping question. Students, here it is going to give KMnO4 propyl benzene is given. Any alkyl benzene, when it is treated with KMnO4, you are going to get benzoic acid as a product. Conditions, that should have at least one benzyl hydrogen or a pi bond at benzyl carbon. So of course A is supposed to be benzoic acid. When it is treated with thionyl chloride, you are going to get COCl. When you see this COCl, C double bond OCl, is treated with aniline in the presence of pyridine. This is your aniline. So you are going to get acetylation. So HCl is lost. The HCl that is released is absorbed by pyridine over here. So you are going to get this structure like this. So you can say N-phenyl, this is a benzamide, and N-phenyl benzamide, answer 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is another question from the organic. A compound A react with alcoholic KOH to yield corresponding compound B. So whenever alcoholic KOH, haloalkane is going to give you its corresponding alkane. If you consider 3-chloro-2-methyl-pentane, so this is your 2-methyl and 3-chloropentane. You are going to get KOH. You will be having dehydrohalogenation according to Sedgev rule. So now this is subjected with ozonolysis followed by reduction. So O3 zinc hydrolysis. So you are going to see the formation of CHO, and you are going to see the formation of acetone, propanol, and it is going to be acetone or propanone. So it is given acetone and a propanol. So it is going to be 3-chloro-2-methyl-pentane. This question can also be done. Propanol and acetone you join to get this an alkene. So this alkene could be formed from which of the following alkyl halide, also a better way to solve this question. So for this, option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is another question. Which of the following alkene gives same product either by acidic hydration or by hydroboration oxidation? But 1-ene you take. If you take acid catalyzed hydration, you are going to get the product like this. If you take the hydroboration oxidation, you are going to get the product like this. They are getting it different, like that propene. The condition is a symmetrical alkene is going to give you same product, but 2-ene CH3, CH double bond CH and CH3. You are going to get the product CH3, CH2, CH and CH3 and OH. Whatsoever, it could be either hydroboration oxidation or acid catalyzed hydration. Option 3, but 2-ene gives the same product in the hydration. So option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a general organic chemistry question, acidic strength based. So consider the following statement: 2-chloroethanoic acid is more acidic than ethanoic acid. So 2-chloroethanoic acid, so COOH and Cl, and it is going to be COOH, and it is more acidic because acidic strength is directly proportional to electron withdrawing group. It is correct. And even you can see acidic strength inversely proportional to electron releasing group. So formic acid is more acidic than acetic acid is more acidic than the tertiary butyl group is there. Positive inductive effect will be more. So this is also correct. Acidic strength of alkyne is more than alkene is more than alkane. So that it is not correct. I would say A and B only. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is about electron affinity, electron gain enthalpy, the amount of energy released when an electron is added to isolated gaseous neutral atom is called as electron gain enthalpy. Most of the cases, the process is going to be exothermic. So, it is supposed to be a negative quantity oxygen, fluorine is a negative quantity, chlorine is a negative quantity, but nitrogen and noble gases, they will be having a positive quantity. So, let us say among which is incorrect. It is said that delta H1 and delta H2 are positive. Only delta H4 is said to be positive according to the NCERT, while delta H1 is going to be negative only. Therefore, incorrect one is, this is incorrect. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. So, option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the arrange the following compounds in decreasing order of reactivity towards nucleophilic addition reaction. Nucleophilic addition reaction. So, a nucleophile can attack like this. Why? Because this has a positive charge and this has a negative charge. I want to say here, nucleophilic addition reaction is directly proportional to positive charge on carbon. Also, you have to check, nucleophilic addition reaction is inversely proportional to steric factors. In general, formaldehyde is more in reactive than aldehyde, any aldehydes. So, I want to say A is more reactive than aliphatic aldehyde, then aromatic aldehyde, then aliphatic ketones, then aromatic ketones will come. So, the answer for this is going to be A is more than B, then you just go to the ketone, then you are going to see the diaromatic ketone. So, option 2 is going to be the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the one more question based on the amines. When aniline react with, assertion says, when aniline react with CHCl3 and KOH in the presence of heat, phenyl isocyanide is formed. So, carbyl amine reaction. You are going to get, so formation of carbyl amine gives a very bad and poisonous smell, and this is a test for all primary amines. So, only aromatic primary amines can be identified. Both aromatic and aliphatic primary amines can give this test. So, here it is, A is true or is false. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Here is a D block elements. A question in photography, developed film is fixed by treating with undissolved AgBr by using hypo. Hypo means sodium thiosulfate pentahydrate. The soluble complex that is formed is going to be sodium argentothiosulfate AgS2O3 Na3, that is going to be Na3 AgS2O3. So, you are going to get this complex, it is twice. So, answer 3 is going to be the correct answer for this question. Students, here is one more question. The compound which does not produce effervescence with sodium bicarbonate. A compound which have free H plus can react with NaHCO3. You are going to release carbon dioxide. Mean to say here, carboxylic acids can give, this can give, this can give, and this can give. Phenols and alcohols do not give. So that this is an alcohol, it do not give. If a phenol has a strong electron withdrawing group like picric acid trinitrophenol can give sodium bicarbonate test. For this question, option 4, option 1 is the correct answer. No, the compound which does not produce, it is supposed to be option 4. It is supposed to be option 4. Does not give means it is alcohol, do not give brisk effervescence with sodium bicarbonate. Students, here is a practical organic chemistry related to aromatic compounds of benzene. So, statement 1 is given as a benzene does not decolorize the bromine water, which is wrong. Which is a correct statement, because benzene, because of this aromaticity, complete delocalization of pi bonds are there. However, it has 3 double bonds in it. It do not behave like an alkene. Therefore, it does not decolorize, which is a correct statement. And phenol decolorizes bromine water. Yes, phenol decolorizes bromine water. This is your phenol. When you add Br2, you are going to get tribromophenol to form this. So, it is an yellow precipitate. You can detect the phenol, test for phenol, you can use this. But this bromine is decolorized and it forms a white precipitate. Both statements are going to be correct. So, option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is related to electrochemical series. Which one of the following has the maximum wavelength of absorption? Energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So, higher the crystal field splitting energy, wavelength is going to be very low. I mean to say, crystal field splitting energy, the order according to the NCERT is given as SCN minus here among these is less than Cl minus is less than oxalate here, C2O4 2 minus is less than strong is going to be nitrogen donor NH3. So, it is the weak ligand among all, wavelength is going to be the maximum. Therefore, option for this is going to be CO SCN6 3 minus. So, the answer it is given as here it is option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Identify the major product P and Q in the following reaction. So, this is your propanoic acid COOH. When it is treated with Cl2 and red phosphorus, and finally it is going to give you HVZ reaction, Hell-Wohlhardt-Jelinski reaction. So, P is going to be HVG product, and propionic acid PCl3 you are going to get COCl propanoyl chloride. Q is going to be propanoyl chloride and P is going to be 2-chloropropanic acid. So, the answer for this question is going to be Q reverse. So, the answer for this question is going to be P is going to be 2-chloropropanic acid, Q is going to be propanoyl chloride. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is one more question. Which of the following statements are incorrect? So, we have to identify which is incorrect. So, steam distillation is used for separation of 1:1 mixture of orthonitrophenol, paranitrophenol. When the phenol is nitrated, you are going to get a mixture of orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol. Orthonitrophenol has intramolecular hydrogen bonding, paranitrophenol has intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So, they differ in their boiling point, and orthonitrophenol is steam volatile, can be done by this method. So, it is a true statement. Thin layer chromatography is a type of adsorption chromatography, and paper chromatography is a partition chromatography. Correct statement. Zeldal method is used for the estimation of nitrogen but not sulfur. So, this statement is wrong. I could say only C is wrong statement. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is a question, which of the following order is correctly matched? So we have to check which is correct with the property mentioned. First, ionization energy, silicon is greater than magnesium is greater than aluminum. So this is not correct. Electronegativity, carbon is greater than, phosphorus is greater than silicon. So it is not correct. Negative electron gain enthalpy, chlorine is greater than fluorine, it is a well known factor. So that this is wrong statement. And ionic radius, as negative charge increases, ionic radius increases. So it is the correct. So option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question from P block elements. So identify the incorrect order, again is the property mentioned. You have to identify incorrect. Repeatedly we are getting which of the following is correct, which of the following is incorrect. So most expected, more prone type of questions in the NEET 2026. Let us identify boron family, group 13. Boron greater than thallium, greater than gallium, greater than aluminum, greater than indium. Ionization potential. And melting point, you can see boron is greater than, aluminum is greater than, thallium is greater than, indium is the greater than gallium. So that is the order of melting point, but here melting point order is given wrong. So this is incorrect. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. It is NCERT, it is given exactly. Students, it's a simple phenomenal question from a chemical bonding. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding is shown by orthonitrophenol. In the orthonitrophenol, you will be having OH and nitro group NO and double bond O. There will be having intramolecular hydrogen bonding. A short while ago we discussed it. This orthonitrophenol is due to intramolecular hydrogen bonding, it is going to be steam volatile, can be separated by steam distillation method. So it is going to be option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a multi-concept question in the NEET examination. Let us see here, when this particular compound is subjected for ozonolysis, you are going to break this bond and you are going to get a structure A as, whenever you break a bond, you are going to get a C double bond O and H, and it will be and a CHO. Now what it can have? This is treated with OH and it undergo aldol condensation. When it undergo aldol condensation, it is going to attack a nucleophilic attack, so that you are going to be heated and dehydrated. So alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde is going to be formed. So the option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from coordination complexes. Some complexes, which of the following statements are true? Let us identify the true. Some complexes given, and this cis form is optically inactive while trans form is optically active. When you talk about this PT, Cl and Cl and NH3 and NH3, this is a transform. In this transform, it is said that transform is optically active. When you just take a plane over here, this is going to be having the same side on the, so you are going to see this statement is not correct statement. When you talk about FeC2O43 minus, geometrical isomerism is not exhibited while optical isomerism is exhibited, which is actually correct, and this is true. They don't show geometrical isomerism, they don't show optical isomerism. You are going to see Fe and OX and you're going to get OX and you're going to get OX oxalate, it is going to have its mirror image, which is correct. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Yeah, students, here is a question given below two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. This is an ether halide. This compound will undergo SN1 reaction through its primary halide. Whenever it is undergoing SN1 reaction is directly proportional to stability of carbocation. When this particular reactant is subjected for SN1, CH3O and CH2 plus a super stable primary carbocation is formed. This is stable due to positive mesomeric effect. Therefore, this statement is correct. While this will not undergo SN2 reaction, to find out the SN2 reaction is inversely proportional to steric factors. However, this is a primary alkyl halide. You have a huge SN bulky group, so that penetration of the nucleophile from the backside rear attack is not possible. So this will not undergo SN2 reaction. So this is also correct statement. For this question, option 1 is the correct statement. Students, here is another question. So reagents 1 and 2 and 3 present in this sequence of reaction. So by taking into the product into the consideration, I want to track what are the possible reagents that can be formed required here. So meta nitrobenzoic acid is obtained from benzoic acid by nitration HNO3 and H2SO4. This benzoic acid is acid group is going to be meta director. This benzoic acid can be obtained by toluene. So any alkyl benzene is treated with KMnO4. You are going to get benzoic acid. Conditions are the benzyl carbon should have at least one alpha hydrogen or a pi bond. It is prepared from, toluene is prepared from benzene by CH3Cl AlCl3. So it is going to be reagent 1, this is going to be reagent 2, and this is going to be reagent 3. So Friedel-Crafts alkylation, KMnO4, concentrated HNO3. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question, which of the following statements are correct about galvanic cell? The useful work done by galvanic cell is equal to decrease in Gibbs free energy. So it is a principle of thermodynamics, correct statement. Both E cell and delta G are intensive property, delta G is extensive property. Therefore, this is not correct statement. A salt bridge is required even in a single electrolyte type galvanic cell. Salt bridge is not required. If a single electrolyte type, you have to physically separate it. Okay, so there should be different electrolytes should be there. So it is a wrong statement, and the potential is called the electron motive force when no current is damaged, no current is drawn through the cell. So that is what is called electron motive force. So that is technically correct. I could say correct statement A and D, option 4 is the correct answer for this question. There we end the paper discussion. The paper that is given here, standard and moderate, is according to NEET 2026 expected pattern. Hope you love this session, and we'll make another paper discussion tomorrow. We'll meet again. Thank you.
Hello everyone, how are you? So I welcome all of you to this discussion of Grand Test 3, and we are going to discuss the physics portion over here. Let's start with the first problem what we have. So this question is related with vernier caliper, and what this question is saying. So the least count of vernier caliper is 1 by 20 n, the value of one division on the main scale is 1 mm. Then the number of divisions of main scale that coincide with n divisions of vernier scale is. So they are giving you the least count of the vernier caliper, and the least count over here is actually equal to 1 MSD minus 1 VSD, correct? Right? And what all things they have given? So the value of one division on main scale is 1 mm. So 1 mm is given, then number of divisions of main scale that coincide with n divisions of vernier scale. So let's take a standard count that we need to find out the number of division of main scale that coincide with n divisions. So let's say some x divisions of main scale. Some x divisions of x MSDs are basically equals to n VSDs, right? So instead of 1 VSD, you can write down 1 MSD minus x upon n VSD, right? And this eventually is turning out to be the least count value is also given as 1 upon 20n, right? So I think using solving this further, this has been converted into how much? MSD only, right? I hope you can understand. So 1 MSD value is given as 1 mm. Based on that, you will be able to find out the answer. The answer over here is going to be option number 3, if I'm not wrong. Sorry, 2. 2 is the right answer. Option number 2 over here. 2n minus 1 upon 2 is going to be the right answer over here. Moving ahead for the next one. A galvanometer of resistance 3.99 ohm with a scale divided into 150 equal divisions has current sensitivity of 10 division per milliampere. Find shunt resistance for making an ammeter of range 0 to 6 ampere over here. Okay, no problem. Let's try solving it. So the galvanometer has 3.99 ohm only. Okay, with a scale divided into 150 equal divisions and current sensitivity. Now current sensitivity is 10 divisions per milliampere. Perfect. So based on that, 150 equal divisions are there. Can you find out what is going to be the actual maximum value of current? So the maximum value of current over here will be how much? 10 divisions per 1 milliampere. 1 milliampere is standing to 10 divisions, right? And in total 150 equal divisions are there. That means I will have to multiply 15 over here, and I will have to multiply 15 over here. So it is 15 milliampere for 150 divisions. Clear? Done. So this is the maximum value of current which can flow, and this maximum value of current will flow through this 3.99, correct? So you want to add a shunt resistance so that this ammeter now becomes 6 ampere. It is now able to measure 6 ampere over here. So 6 ampere current should flow like this, out of which 15 milliampere should flow over here, and remaining 6 minus 15 milliampere should flow using the resistor, the shunt resistance over here, RS. The value of this is 3.99, correct? So based on this, 15 into 3.99 plus 6 minus 15 milliampere, you can ignore milliampere, it's going to be 6 minus 0.015. You can just consider it as 6 into RS only. So 15 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 into 3.99 is equal to 6 into RS. You will get your answer. Based on this, option number 4 I think will make sense, right? You can consider this nearly equal to 4 only. So 15 4s is 60. This will be 6 into 10 raised to the power minus 2, and 10 will go. Yes, so R will be equal to 10 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. I hope this is clear. Option number 4 is the right answer over here. Standard problem. Let's move ahead for the next one. When the current I is flowing through a conductor, a drift velocity is V. If 2I current is flowing, see over here the formula is NEAVD, right? So number of electrons per unit volume is not changing, electronic charge is not moving, area is changing, current is changing, and drift velocity is changing. Based on that, I think you can approach, and final answer over here I think is 4. Exactly. Option number 4 is the right answer, 4V. Okay, so it's a simple formula based problem with few variables getting changed. A body floats in a liquid of relative density 1.5 with 40% of its volume outside the liquid. That means inside is 60%. So if inside is 60% in a liquid, so how much portion is inside? The fraction basically is equal to the density whole divided by the density of the liquid. So the density of the object whole divided by the density of the liquid. Okay, this is how you find out the value of K. So for the first case, see 40% is outside. you need to consider 60 by 100. For the first case, 60 by 100 will be equal to the density of the object whole divided by the liquid's density is, so its relative density is given as 1.5. That means its density will be equal to 1.5 times rho of water. I hope I am making sense. If 50% of the volume of the same body remains in an oil, okay, so in 50% is outside, 50% is inside. The relative density of oil is, no problem. So for oil, 50 by 100 is equal to sigma upon, we need to find out the relative density. So I can write that relative density as some K into the rho of water. Now I think it is crystal clear, you just divide both of them, you will get the value of K. Okay, you will get the value of A. Actually, relative density, they are asking about the density, not the relative density. So what you can do is, you can just ignore this K, because looking at the options, say they are in G per cc. So relative density has no unit. They are basically asking you the density of oil. Irrespective of the fact, whatever they have written, they are asking you about the oil. Option number 3 matches the statement. Okay, so 3 is the right answer. Then ice at minus 20 degrees centigrade is added to 50 gram of water. At 40, when the temperature of the mixture is 0, it was found that 20 gram of ice is not melted. The amount of ice added to water is. Now in this question, they should have clearly given you the value of specific heat capacity of ice, then latent heat of fusion, and specific heat capacity of water. Normally people know it's 1 calorie per gram. So if that is clear, then you will be able to solve it. For example, let's say there was some ice at minus 20. Okay, this was ice. Now this ice further reduced its temperature from minus 20 to 0 to become ice of M only. Now out of this ice, only some portion, that means some, when the temperature of mixture, it was found 20 gram of ice is not melted. Okay, so 20 gram of ice still remained as it is at 0 degree centigrade, and the rest will be how much? M minus 2. This converted to water at 0 degree centigrade only. So basically, at what all element the energy have been given by ice. So over here, they have given an energy equals to M into specific heat capacity of ice into delta T is going to be 20. Plus, here also, this will not give the energy, but this will give the energy, reason being because it is getting converted. So M minus 2 into latent heat of fusion. This is the energy given, and this energy is absorbed by water. So water 50 gram at 40 will increase to 0. So water will acquire an energy of, mass of water is 50, specific heat capacity of water into delta T will be 40 to 0. That means 40. Now, as I have told you, you should remember the values of S of ice, latent heat of fusion, and S of water for this question to be solved. If not, I expect in the real exam, these values will be given. Okay. Let's move ahead for the next one. The value of acceleration due to gravity at the surface of Earth of radius capital R is g. It decreases by 10% at a height h above the surface of Earth. The gravitational potential at this height is. Now see, when the variation in g is by 10%, obviously you will not use the formula g at a height h equals to g1 minus 2h by r. That will not give you the right answer. So which formula I will have to use? So basically g at a height h is g r upon r plus h whole square. R upon r plus h whole square. Correct? I will use this formula. Right? And they are saying it is reducing by 10%. That means the new acceleration due to gravity will be 90 by 100, 90%. That means 9 by 10 times g is equal to g r upon r plus h whole square. Now the best part is they are asking you to find out the gravitational potential. Now see, gravitational potential calculation is very easy. You need to find out the gravitational potential at this height. So the gravitational potential is minus of gm upon small r, and small r over here will be r plus h. So in a way, you just try to calculate this value of r plus h. And r plus h, you can clearly see r plus h. Do the under root on both the sides. R plus h is turning out to be r into under root of 10 upon under root of 9. So under root of 10 by under root of 9 is 3. This is the value. Keep it over here, you will get the answer. Okay. Option number 2, I think, is matching. Yes, 2 is the right answer over here. 2gr upon root 15. Okay, so I hope this point is making sense to you. Kindly check whether it is 2 or something else. Minus gm upon r plus h. The gravitational potential, it is turning out to be option number 3. 3 it is turning out to be, not 2. Okay, let me check. 141 is 3, absolutely correct. It is not 2. I'm so sorry. Wrong answer has been written. It is this. Okay, minus of gm r upon h is 3r by 10. Okay, so perfect. Let's move ahead. Given below are 2 statements. I hope this is clear. It's very small. One is assertion A, reason R. Molecules of air in room do not fall and settle on ground due to gravity, obviously. Otherwise, we won't be able to breathe. Air molecules possess high kinetic energy and undergo incessant collisions. Absolutely correct. Due to which their average. This is right. This is right. Option number 1 is the right answer. Let's move ahead. Find the current through wire XY. Now the current through wire XY will be. See, what is the procedure? Here it is 50 volt. So this 50 volt is across this also and it is across this also. Now how the individual division will be? So V is equal to IR. The current is same through this, through both of them. Is the current same through both of them? No, you cannot say the current is same through both of them. You cannot say the current is same through both of them. That's perfectly right. The scenario is, first they are in parallel. Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. See, these two are in parallel and these two are in parallel. Okay, I'm so sorry. They are not in series. Don't consider them in series. This is in parallel. This is in parallel. What is the net resultant of both of them? Can you please tell me? What is the net resultant of both of them? So it is going to be 1 into 3 upon 1 plus 3, which is 3 by 4. Perfect. What is the net resultant of this? 2 into 4 upon 2 plus 4. This will be 8 by 6. That is 4 by 3. Perfect, sir. So one resistance has 3 by 4, another has 4 by 3. So this 50 will be distributed. Now basically you have the setup over here like this. One resistor like this, another resistor like this. This is 3 by 4, this is 4 by 3. And all of this is connected across 50 volt, right? So this 50 will be distributed across this also. It will be distributed across this also. How? Based on the same approach, here V1 will be, now the current is same. So V1 will be equal to R1 because current is same. V equals to IR. So this is same. That means V will be directly proportional on R. So 3 by 4 whole divided by 3 by 4 plus 4 by 3 into the total potential, which is 50. Correct? So you will get the value of V1. How much is the value? You can solve this also. 9 plus 16 is 25. So 3 by 4 into 25 and this will be 12. This will go by 3. So it is 9 and 25 will go by 50 as 2. So 9 2s are 18. V1 is turning out to be 18 volt. So here the potential difference across this is 18 volt. Across this is 18 volt, right? So what will be the current over here? Sir, 18 by 1. 18 volt is the potential difference across this, right? So here it will be 18 ampere. And here it will be how much? Here it will be 18 by 6. That means, sir, 6 ampere. So overall 24 ampere of current is going. Correct? Now, if 18 is across this, so this is going to be 32. So how much current is flowing through this? 32 by 2. 32 by 2 is 16. That means 16 ampere is flowing over here. That means 18 goes over here. 2 ampere goes like this and 16 goes like this. That means correct answer is option number 3. I hope I am clear. You have understood what is the approach I have used. Yes, 3 is undoubtedly the right answer. Okay, let's move ahead for the next one. The earth without its atmosphere would be inhospitable. I think it's inhabitable, not inhospitable, and this is right. Brass tumbler feels much more colder than wooden tray. Yes, it has high conductivity as compared to wood. Heating system based on circulation of steam are more efficient in warming a building than those on circulation of hot water. Obviously, steam has higher energy. If you understand, steam has more latent heat as compared to the same hot water at 100 degree. So this is also right. All of the 3 are correct. Option number 4. Option number 4 is the right answer. Next, this is a nice question, and I think many of you might be missing on how to solve this also. There are two straight conducting plates. They are forming angle theta where their ends are joined. A conducting bar in contact with the plates are forming an isosceles triangle with them starts at the vertex at time t is equal to 0. Okay. And moves with constant velocity v to the right as shown in figure. A magnetic field B points out of the page. The magnitude of EMF induced at t equals to 1 second will be. What will be the magnitude of EMF induced at t equals to 1 second? Sir, in a way this language might be confusing you, but what is happening is this rod, if you are seeing, is starting from this point. It is starting from this point. Okay. So if it is starting from this point at t equals to 0, obviously there is no section where over here this is the length which you can see is getting created, right? But here there is no length across which then EMF can be created. Motional EMF will be created in this portion only, right? Because this rod is moving. So that motional EMF is created only once there is some region here, though there is no region at all. So this is the point. As it's moving, there is some region getting exposed, and due to that an EMF it is getting generated. So how much is the EMF? EMF though is simple, sir, V cross B dot L, or basically VB into L, where L is basically this length. Okay. Now how do you calculate that length? How do you calculate that length? So this length over here, let's say this distance is x. So this angle will be theta by 2, correct? So tan of theta by 2, let's say this length is L over here. So this much will be L by 2 since it's an isosceles triangle. So tan of theta by 2 will be L by 2 whole divided by x. So L over here will be equal to 2 times x into tan of theta by 2. Right, sir? Perfect. Now see, they're asking, I want to find out the EMF at t equals to 1. So at t equals to 1, how much this rod must have moved? Sir, it's moving with a constant velocity v, right? So in time t it will move this much distance will be v into time, that is in 1 second it will be v into 1. So this is going to be your distance x. Please keep it over here. So it will be 2v into tan of theta by 2. Now when you will keep this value again over here, so VBL is 2v tan theta by 2, that means 2v square 2bv square tan of theta by 2. Option number 2 is the right answer. Okay, I hope this is clear. Two identical conducting balls A and B have positive charges Q1 and Q2 respectively. Now they are asking, the balls are brought together so that they touch each other and then kept in their original position. The force between them is. So when the two balls are kept, the force is K Q1 Q2 whole divided by R square. Perfect. And then when they are kept in contact to each other, obviously the charge will be half now. It will be Q1 plus Q2. It will be how much? It will be Q1 plus Q2 by 2, and it will be Q1 plus Q2 by 2. Now the force will be, F will be equal to K. Q1 plus Q2 by 2 into Q1 plus Q2 by 2 whole square upon R square. Now you need to see whether this force is more or this force is more, because that is what has been asked. So the only differentiator is this element. So I need to check whether Q1 plus Q2 by 2 whole square, how much is the value? Okay. How much is the value? Is it greater than Q1 Q2 or it is less than Q1 Q2? Let's try to find this out. Okay, sir? Let's try to find this out, sir. Well, to be specific, this value, you can check it yourself also. This value is obviously going to be greater. This will be greater than Q1 Q2 for sure. And this is going to be greater than Q1 Q2, and therefore you can clearly see that the new force will be greater than that before the balls touched. Okay, you solve it. It's going to take time. I have to discuss more problems over here, but please solve it. This value is always greater than this. Okay, let's move it for the next one. A right isosceles triangle of side A has charges, and how to solve it? Please open it. You will understand yourself. A right isosceles triangle of side A has charge Q, 3Q and minus Q arranged on the vertices as shown in the figure. The electric potential at point P, midway between the line connecting the plus Q and the minus Q charges. So midway between them, the electric potential will be because of this, and because of this it will be 0. Only you need to calculate because of this. Since this is a right angled isosceles triangle, therefore this angle will be 45, this will be 90. So you can very easily find out the hypotenuse and this distance over here, which will be a cos 45. So based on that, rate k 3q upon cos 45, you can easily find out the value. Option number 4 I think is the right answer over here. Okay, cool. 4 or check it, 4 or 2, whatever is the answer. I hope you have understood. Based on the 4 is written, but please check which of the following is the right answer. It's simple, kq upon the distance r over here. Okay, chalo, let's move ahead. 4 identical metal plates are located in air at equal distances d from each other. The area of each plate is S. If the outermost plates are connected by a conducting wire as shown in the figure, the capacitance between points A and B will be. So between A and B, see, consider A as positive, B as negative. Okay, so this plate becomes positive, this plate becomes negative. So electric field lines will run from here. They will run from here also to this plate, and this plate is connected to this plate. So the potential will be higher than negative but lower than positive. Higher than negative, therefore electric field lines are going to be in this manner. Correct? So there is one capacitor which is getting generated over here between positive and negative. This is, let's say, the positive and the negative. Okay, this is the middle capacitor, and there are another capacitors over here like this, in which this and this are these plates, the connecting plate over here, this one and this one. So you can clearly see in series their equivalent will be C by 2, then with C it will be 3C by 2, and C is A epsilon naught by D. So option number 2 is matching. Right? Clear? I hope this is making sense. Specific resistance depends on the nature of the material, right? And independent of temperature, absolutely wrong. So statement 1 is wrong. So that means this is wrong, this is wrong. 3 and 4 can be there. A wire of resistance 6 ohm is drawn out so that its new length is 4 times its original length. The resistance of the new wire is 48. So L square, 6 4s are. R becomes 4 times, right? So rho L square, 16 6s are. I think this is also wrong, right? This is also wrong. This is also wrong. Option number 3 is the right answer. Option number 3 is the right answer, because resistance becomes R equals to rho L upon A multiply A, length and length. So it will be rho L square upon volume. So if you increase this by 4 times, it will become 16 times. 16 6s is 60 96. So obviously 48 is not the right answer. So option number 3 is correct. Moving ahead, an isosceles triangular current carrying loop is kept perpendicular in uniform magnetic field B0 as shown. The force on the loop due to magnetic field. See, the same current is flowing, the net magnetic force will be 0. This is a very standard problem. There is no issue in this. If the earth were to rotate faster than its present speed, the weight of the object will be, see, if the earth is rotating at a faster pace, obviously there will be more centrifugal force outside, so the weight is going to reduce at the equator, but at poles there is no effect. So decrease at equator but remain unchanged at poles, option number 2. Given below are two statements, one is labeled assertion A and the other is reason R. Steel used in construction of buildings, obviously it is right. Steel is more elastic and it's absolutely correct. 1 is the right answer. Consider the following statements, A and B identified. Okay, viscosity of liquid decreases with decrease of temperature. Surface tension of liquid decreases. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is right. Option number 3 is the correct answer. Then in thermodynamic process, which of the following is not true? Okay, adiabatic process, the system is insulated from the surrounding. This is right. Isochoric process, pressure. This is wrong. Option number 2 is wrong. This is the right answer. Select the incorrect statement. The direction of eddy current is given by Lenz's law. Absolutely correct. A choke coil is a pure. We need to find out incorrect only, right? This is pure inductor controlling. Absolutely correct. RMS value of AC current is √2 times the peak value. This looks write in hurry, but actually RMS value is peak by root 2, not peak times root 2. So this is wrong. C is wrong. C is wrong. C is wrong over here, but D is not wrong. Okay, so option number 3 is the correct answer. Second cannot be the right answer, right? Parallel plate capacitor is completely filled with dielectric material of dielectric constant K. When the capacitor is connected to a battery, the net electric field inside the dielectric is E. Then the magnitude of electric field produced solely by wound. Okay, so if there is a capacitor plate, the electric field lines normally we say is E, and that induced because of this becomes E by K, correct? Now what they are saying is, they are claiming this electric field to be E. They are claiming this electric field to be E. That means the outer will be equal to how much? The outer will be equal to, they are claiming this is E, that means outer will be K times E. So due to the bound, how much will be due to the bound? Obviously due to the bound will be EI, and EI over here will be outside minus this. So outside is K minus E, that means K minus 1 into E. Option number 2 is the right. Option number 3 is the right answer, correct? Option number 3 is the right answer. Next, parallel plate capacitor, after charging it's kept connected to a battery and the plates are pulled apart with the help of, okay, D I am increasing and V will be constant. Why? Because battery is still connected. So capacitance is A epsilon naught by D. That means capacitance will reduce. Q equals to CV. Charge will also reduce. Correct? Now which of the following quantities will reduce? Capacitance, charge. Now two options are obviously I can find, so all of the above is the right answer. No need to check the third one. Period of oscillation of simple pendulum is T equals to 2 pi root of L by G. Measured value of L is 20 centimeter, known to 1 mm accuracy. Okay. So the length over here is given as 20 plus minus 1 mm can be written as 0.1 centimeter, right? And time for 100 oscillations of pendulum is found to be 90. So time will be written as, I need for one oscillation, so 90 by 100, that is 0.9 plus minus, what is the error? So 1 second resolution, that means 1 second error per 400. So for one oscillation it will be 0.01. This is a standard problem in NCERT. What is the percentage error in determination of G? So G can actually be calculated. G will be equal to L by T square. So delta G by G will be equal to delta L by L plus 2 times delta T by T. I hope through this you can very easily find out the value of the percentage error in G. Okay. So delta L by L, whatever is the value, and 2 times delta T by T, you can very easily find out the value. Okay. A body starts with initial velocity of 64 meter per second, moves with retardation this much. We need to find out time required to stop it. See, acceleration can be written as dv by dt. That will be equal to minus 4 times root v. Perfect, sir. Done. So v goes over here, t goes over here. dv upon root v will be equal to minus 4 dt. Integrate it. Integration will give the result as minus 1 by 2 plus 1, that is root v into 2 equals to minus 4 into t. Now initially at t equals to 0 I am having 64, and at what time I will have 0? So keep 0. Root 64 is 2 into 8 equals to 4 into t. 4 will cancel to 4 second is the right answer. Option number 4 is the correct answer. Okay. Next, a body of mass 5 kg is at rest on a horizontal table. The coefficient of friction between the body and the table is 0.6. The force of magnitude 10 Newton is acting on the block at an angle. See, first you will have to take this component 10 sine 37, which is sine 37 is 3 by 5, that means 6. Here 10 cos 37, which is 4 by 5, that will be 8, right? Mg over here is 50. So normal will be how much? 50 minus 6, which is 44. So friction over here, the limit is turning out to be 0.6 into 44. 0.6 into 44 is well above 8. That means 8 Newton is the right answer. 8 will be the friction force. Okay. This is the requirement. Right. 4 to 160 is 4. Absolutely correct. 160 is 4. Correct. Now this question. Good. A souvenir is constructed by 3 light rods, light strings and 4 objects as shown. If the system is in equilibrium and if mass m3 is 81 plus x gram, then the value of x is, what is the value of x? See, this is a standard case of rotational equilibrium. These are light rods, okay? So how you will have to find out, see, this 12 into 3 will be the torque over here, will be equal to m1 g into 4. Now you're obviously ignoring the g, so 12 into 3 will be equal to m1 into 4. Okay, you will get the value of m1 from this. 4 3s are, m1 is turning out to be 9. Good. Now 12 plus m1 is, 12 plus 9 is 21. So 21 will act over here, and 21 into 4 will be equal to m2 into 2. This cancels, m2 is turning out to be 42. Done. Now this 42 and this entire mass, so 42 plus 21 is 63. Correct? How much is that? It is 63. So 63 into 4 equals to m3 into 3. Now this will cancel by 21. So m3 is 84. So x turns out to be how much? 3. What is the right answer? Am I clear? Right? The potential energy of a system increases if work is done upon the system by a non-conservative force, by the system against a conservative force, by the system against a non-conservative force, upon the system by a conservative force. So if a conservative force is doing work, let's talk about them one by one. Okay, delta K plus delta U equals to work done by non-conservative forces. Okay, so and further delta U equals to negative of work done by conservative forces. That means work done by conservative forces, no, work done on against conservative forces, right? So upon the system by a non-conservative force, if there is a non-conservative force, the potential energy of a system may or may not increase, because this might yield or give the result as this also. Clear? Am I clear? And further, whenever there is a work done, yes, this may result in the increase in kinetic energy also. So conservative cannot clearly satisfy. Option number 2 is right, because see, upon the system by a conservative force, if there is a work done by conservative force, then potential energy will not increase, it will decrease. But if it is by the system against a conservative force, that means this will be negative. This entire statement means option number 2. So option number 2 undoubtedly is the right answer. Am I clear? Okay, let's move ahead for the next one. A frictionless track ABCDE in a circular loop of radius capital R. A body slides down the track from a point A, which is at a height h equals to 5 centimeter. Maximum value of capital R for the body to successfully complete the loop is. So maximum value of capital R for the body to successfully complete the loop are, no problem sir, when the body moves from here, to here, it will have a speed of root 2 gh, and this should be greater than equal to under root of 5g into r. So through this you can find out the value. Okay, the total linear momentum is conserved at each instant of collision. Okay, the kinetic energy conservation applies after the collision is over and does not hold at every instant of the collision. When two equal masses, this is correct, this is absolutely correct, because when they are colliding, right, there occurs a moment when they compress each other, so kinetic energy gets converted to potential energy. So this is right, this is also right, 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, so this is right and this is right. When two equal masses undergo glancing elastic collision with one of them at rest, then after the collision they will move at right angle to each other. Okay, so if this is at rest, it is like this, it collides. So after this, one moves like this and the other one moves over here at right angle to each other. This is also correct. This is also right. Option number 1, 2 and 3 all are correct. Option number 4 is the right answer. Perfect. A uniform rod of mass 20 kg in length, 1.6 meter is pivoted at its end and swings freely in the vertical plane. Angular acceleration of the rod just after the rod is released from rest in the horizontal position shown in the figure. What will be the angular acceleration? So the angular acceleration will be basically equals to this mg into L by 2, which will be the torque. So mg L by 2, which is the torque, whole divided by moment of inertia, which will be ml square by 3, because it is, this will be the value of alpha. Solve it, you will get the answer. Okay. When a body is in SHM, then match the following. Okay, velocity is maximum at the mean position. A stands for 2 only in 3 and 4. Okay, 1 and 2 cancel, done. Then kinetic energy, acceleration is maximum. Look at option number D. Acceleration is maximum at extreme position. That means D1 is only in option number 3. So option number 3 is the right answer. Right. Next, for which of the given circuits shown in figure to act as a full wave rectifier AC input signal should be connected across this and DC output signal would appear across this? No problem. It's better to look at the option. So if it is A and C, if you are applying across A and C, then sir, how can this be rectified? It is in reverse biasing. No, not at all. Rejected. B and D. So if I go from here, this wave can get ejected, and from A you can take the output. Okay. And if let's say this is the case when current is going like this, what if the current reverses and the current goes in this manner? So the current can come from here. Okay, and C will be the output. Yes, option number 2 is the right answer. Perfect. The correct Boolean algebra represented by the circuit diagram drawn is, okay, when both are open, the LED glows, yes, because the current will flow through this. If A is open, sorry, A is closed, B is open, so the current will go from here, but current has no path. The current has no path, so current will again glow. If B is open, B is closed, A is open, still I think there is no path, so bulb will glow. When both of them are open, then this will be not there. Okay, so what kind of a gate this is? This is not or, absolutely. Is it nor or is it and? No, let's say it is nor. 0 plus 0 is 0, not of that. 1 plus 0 is 1. NAND. Yes, this represents a NAND gate. It is representing a NAND gate. Okay, option number 3 is the right answer. Perfect, 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 perfect. Yes, correct. Next, the decreasing order of wavelength of infrared, microwave, ultraviolet and gamma rays is. So obviously gamma rays has the maximum, that means here and here, and microwave has more than infrared. Microwave has more than infrared, so option number 4 is the right answer. The binding energy per nucleon of lithium and helium nuclei are 5.6 MeV and 7.06 MeV. The nuclear reaction, the energy value of Q will be. See, it's simple. This will have no energy. Just multiply 7 with, no, for lithium it is this much. So 7 into 5.6, and over here there are 8. 8 into 5.6, subtract it, whatever is the answer, that's the Q value. See whichever one is the right answer over here. Okay, let's move ahead. If the binding energy of an electron in hydrogen atom is 13.6 eV, the energy required to remove the electron from first excited state of Li2 plus is. So from Li2 plus, what is the energy required to remove from the first excited state? Now see, whatever is the energy of hydrogen minus of 13.6, Z square by N square. In a real, it's just Z square by N square. So first in hydrogen has this much, in lithium it will have minus 13.6 into z square is 2 square, that is 4. Okay. Similarly, the first excited will be equal to, in hydrogen it is minus 3.4, here it will be minus 3.4 z square. So 4 3s are 12 and 16. Obviously option number 3 is the right answer. In Bohr's model of hydrogen atom, the ratio between the period of revolution of an electron in orbit n equals to 1 to the period. See, period of revolution is time, which is 2 pi by omega, and omega is v by r, correct? Now r is basically 0.53 n square by z, right? So it will be n square by z due to r, and it is going to be z by n. So time basically is governed as n cube by z square. Now please relate whatever they are saying. It's basically in terms of n only, so 1:8 is the right answer. Okay. Time is directly related to n cube, so 1:8. Then the de Broglie wavelength of a gas molecule is 27 degree. Okay, so lambda equals to h upon mv, and mv can be written as in terms of kinetic energy 2 mk, correct? And kinetic energy over here can be given as a parameter of temperature. Okay, some small k into T. So it can be written as some small k into temperature T. All in all, nothing else is changing, only temperature is changing. So you need to relate with sense of temperature. So lambda 1 is to lambda 2 will be equal to the temperature T1 will be 273 plus 27, which is 300, and 273 plus 927 is 1200. Okay. So under root of 300 is to 1200, under root of 1 by 4. That means lambda by 2. 1 is the right answer. Okay, perfect. In stopping potential, compare the wavelength. Okay, so see, this has higher stopping potential, this has lower. So higher, lower. That means the lambda of this will be lower, obviously, right? Lambda 2 will be lower then because it has higher energy, and lambda 1 will be greater. Option number 4 is the correct answer. White light is incident on interface of glass and air as shown in figure. If green light is just totally internally reflected, then the emerging ray in air is. See, if green is able to do TIR, then all the wavelengths which are greater than this won't be able to pass through the other medium. Am I clear? And all the wavelengths which are having lesser wavelength will be able to pass or perform TIR. So if green is like this, that means violet, indigo, blue will be able to do TIR, and yellow, orange, red will be emerging rays, right? So option number 1 is the correct answer over here. Okay. The angle of deviation versus angle of incidence is plotted because the wrong statement. Okay. Angle of prism is 60. Deviation is 60. Deviation is 60. Angle of incidence and emergence. Yes, this is right. Refractive index of the prism is n equals to root 3. Wait. For deviation I to be 65. The angle of incidence I should be equal to 45 degree. If it is 65, angle of incidence can be 70, and if it is 70, then other will be 50, or else it will be 50 and 70. Yes, no, this is wrong. That means option number 3 is the right answer. Rest they are going to be correct because I just need to find out the wrong statement. 3 is the right one. 3 is the wrong answer over here. Next, in a YDSC setup, the slits are 2 mm apart and are illuminated with a mixture of two wavelengths, lambda naught and lambda. The minimum distance from the common central bright fringe on a screen 2 meter from the slits where a bright fringe from one interference pattern coincides with a bright fringe from the other. See, this is a standard case of you need to find out the LCM. Okay, so LCM over here will be for the first. See, what is going to be the beta, the fringe width for the first one? It will be, it's lambda capital D upon small d, right? This is for the first one. For the second one is lambda 2 capital D upon small d. Just take out the LCM of both of them. Whatever is the LCM, right? The LCM of beta 1 and beta 2. That will be basically the y where both of them will interfere. just take out the LCM, you will be able to find out the answer. A parallel monochromatic beam of light is incident normally on a narrow slit. A diffraction pattern is formed on a screen placed perpendicular to the direction of incident beam. At the first minimum of diffraction pattern, the phase difference between the rays coming from the edges of the slit. Whoever is not knowing diffraction through a single slit won't be able to do this question. All those who have just learned the formula, they won't be able to do it. Now see, whenever you want to find out the minimas, what you do is you basically break the entire film into sections of 2, 4, 6, like that. So first I'll break them into 2 sections of A by 2, A by 2. And basically what I'm going to say, any wavelet over here like this and this will have the phase difference between them equal to lambda by 2. Okay, we'll have the phase difference over here as this as lambda by 2. Correct? Similarly, this wave over here and this wave over here will also have a phase difference of lambda by 2. So if you talk about this wave in particular, this is what the question is asking. This wave in particular and this wave in particular will obviously have the phase difference of lambda. Lambda stands for 2 pi phase difference. If the part difference is lambda, the phase difference stands out to be 2 pi. Okay. Consider the diffraction pattern obtained from light incident. Another question of diffraction. On a pinhole of diameter 0.1 micrometer, if the diameter of pinhole is slightly increased, it will affect the diffraction pattern such that width of central maxima decreases, intensity decreases. No, intensity is going to increase and width of central maxima will decrease. Absolutely correct. Option number 2 is the right answer. The percentage increase in the speed of transverse wave produced by stretched string if the tension increased. See, V equals to under root of T by nu. So if tension is increased by 4%, we will be increasing by 2% only. Option number 3 is the right answer. Okay. So I hope you have understood all the problems what we have discussed today. Overall paper was moderate. Okay. There were some questions which were higher than moderate, which would have definitely costed time. The overall paper, I think, would have taken time. Many of you might not be able to attempt the entire paper also. If you have adjusted your time in biology and chemistry good, then this paper was solvable. You could have attempted all of them. But whenever you see these kinds of paper, please notice, be very selective. You can see the last question over here. If you're leaving these kinds of questions which are there in between, then it's definitely going to be a very big setback for you after practicing so much. So the main agenda is you should be time efficient that much that you are able to attempt all the questions, at least have a look at them. Okay, so that's all from my end. Thank you so much. We'll connect in the next session. Till then, take care everyone. Bye bye and all the best.